What is up, YouTube? Just got off of work. Oh, the Panigale, a racing icon. Woo! Oh, a little tire slip there. Got it in race mode. Let's talk about it. The Panigale 1199. Beautiful masterpiece of a bike. So, what's it like to own a Ducati? Well, I'll tell you. Get a diesel heater, turn it on high, strap that bitch to a bullet train, and tear up $100 bills the entire time you're riding it. Because that's what it's like. It's expensive, it's hot, it's fast as fuck. Enjoy every mile, every drop of gasoline you put in this fucker. That's what's gonna happen. And I know you're like, a Ducati, I bet those are unreliable. Wrong. Reliable as fuck. I went 13,000 miles over my Desmo Quattro service just to see what would happen. And as you can see, no Desmo light. I just got it back. I got 43,000 miles on it. Got the 45,000 mile Desmo Quattro service, which would have only cost $1,700. But since I pushed my bike so much more past the Desmo Quattro service, that I needed all kinds of extra shit. So, did it break down? No, it didn't. The only thing that I had a problem with was it was harder to start. So I changed the plugs at around like 38,000 miles, and it was easier to start. And then around 42,000, 500-ish, I started getting real bad clutch slipping and a lot of lack of power and a lot of missing, like a stutter of some sorts in first gear. So I was like, well, I guess it's time to put this bitch to rest. And they had to change a lot of extra shit that wasn't normally part of your Desmo Quattro service at 45,000 miles. So do I recommend doing that? No. Do I recommend you can stretch out in between your Desmo Quattro services? Yeah. You could definitely stretch it out. I don't recommend it because of I had to pay, what, like $800 more to fix everything that needed to be fixed, that should have gotten fixed. So, but she's running good now. They want to charge me $600 to change my clutch. Not happening. I'm gonna order a Duca bike race clutch kit for this thing, the aluminum and steel version. So there's that. I mean, the bike isn't bad to daily ride. I've daily ridden this bike 2 years now. Almost 2 years. So, I mean, the only thing is it's not the most comfortable thing. It's not supposed to be the most comfortable thing. It is a goddamn race bike with lights on it. So, I mean, there's definitely no points for comfort. It's a little wrist heavy. You know, just like a sport bike should be. You know, more like a rake for like a track. Lots of performance. This bike's a hell of a monster to ride, man. And I love the fuck out of it. And I don't just let it sit in my garage and collect dust. You know, I actually ride this fucking thing every day. Every day. 6 days a week for work. An hour drive back and forth. Calm Come the fuck on, dude. What's that? A Ford Fiesta? But yeah, I ride my bike every day, a lot of miles, and it never let me down, even after pushing it so far past the Desmo Quadro service that it probably should have blown up, and it hasn't. The only concern they had was that eventually my next Desmo Quadro service, they're probably going to have to rebuild the engine because of how hard I pushed the bike. But you know, it's a fucking race bike. I'm gonna push it to the limits. And I'm gonna ride fast every day. You know, I enjoy my bike and I'm gonna enjoy it. A lot of people are complaining and saying, you know, Ducati's always had a reputation for being unreliable. True and untrue. They were unreliable because during, you know, the early years, especially the early 90s of Ducati, a lot of them had a lot of failure, a lot of frame cracks, shit like that. But you know, they pretty much took a bike they made for the goddamn track and put it into production so anybody can buy it. And if you know anything, you know, track bikes are only good for a couple races and then you have to rebuild the goddamn thing. So, that's what happened. They get a bunch of bikes and they need rebuilt. But people buy them and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna sell it before it needs to be rebuilt. So then they got even more of a bad reputation from people buying bikes right before they needed service. And then they go to get it serviced and it's like $2,000 and you're like, holy fuck, what did I get myself into? So, you know, you buy a bike, it breaks down, and it turns out it was just because the guy before you sold it to you right before it needed to be serviced, and then you drove it when it needed to be serviced and it turned to shit. So then you're like, oh, fuck Ducati. Well, the newer Ducatis are fucking amazing. I don't have too many complaints about my Panigale. The only complaint I have is there's not a lot of heat reduction under the seat because the exhaust is underbelly exhaust. And the rear cylinder is vertical to your seat. And the exhaust comes right off under your seat. So it's hot. It's fucking hot. I removed the cylinder head covers to the rear cylinder to let the heat out a little bit. And I mean, it kind of works. The only thing now is my thighs get a little warm, but my balls and my butthole are a lot cooler. Another thing I don't like is it says I'm in 5th gear right now. See if you can see it. I'm not, I'm in 6th. My kick counter doesn't work right. I don't know what it could be. It probably just needs to be flashed or adjusted. My little rod, my little quick shifter rod. Not a big deal, never had a bike with a gear shifter on it. I mean, a gear indicator. Oh, I'm sorry. A gear indicator. So, not a big deal. You know? See, now I'm in 5th. 6th. Still 5th. Not a big deal. It's whatever. Granted, you do pay an arm and a leg for this fucking thing. And just like anything that you buy that's very expensive, you would expect to be, you know, in perfect fucking condition. But it's not, so it's just more of a, I don't know how to describe it, like more of a little scuff than anything else. It doesn't ruin anything about the bike at all. Especially if you ride it a lot. Is that an M5? Oh no, that's like a M4, maybe? It's 2 doors, so it's gotta be an M4 or an M6. Can't tell. Anyways, but yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's not very comfortable. I did change my seat out to a Ducati comfort seat. It's a little thicker, not a fan. It puts me on my tippy toes. And I set up my suspension already for the track. So it was already set up and I wasn't about to go pay more money to get it unset up to switch back to my other seat. So it's not a big deal. Handles amazing, drives amazing. It sounds fucking beautiful. It's just a blast to ride. This thing's a monster. Every literal sense of the word monster. Acceleration, cornering, riding, I guess you could say. Just in general, this thing is a beast. And I love it. And you know, everybody, you're probably like, why do you have that many fucking miles on your bike? It's gonna blow up. It's not. I'm not worried about it. Not at all. One, I have a warranty because I paid cash for this bitch, which is unlimited amount of warranty from the dealership I got it from. So that's a plus. Another thing is, I haven't had any real problems. You just service it when it needs service. When it says change oil, I'm like, all right, dude, I got you. I changed the oil. No smoking, no overheating, nothing. But we'll get to that. So what's it like to daily ride one? Well, a lot of shit comes off because of the vibrations of a V-twin. You know, you're like, oh, that probably like a Harley that turns really good. No, not really. Vibrations aren't too bad. Not any more than any other duck I ever rode. But I've lost 2 heel guards to the highway from vibrating off. I lost a radiator from debris on the highway, and I'm about to lose my second radiator because they're doing road work on the highway again. And like a dumbass, when I bought my replacement lower radiator, I didn't buy a radiator guard. So I might be losing this one because it's got a couple dents in it. Not a big deal. It's only like $300 maybe for a set, the upper and lower. So, you know, whatever. Good old boys in Australia. That makes some good parts, mate. But again, I ride it every single day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I ride a half an hour to work, 45 minutes from work. And then half an hour, really, it's supposed to take me around 45 minutes there and about an hour and 15 minutes back. But, you know, I ride fast. I'm going 80 right now, but I'm just following traffic. So, you know, whatever. Speed limit's 80 here. Wink, wink. But, you know, I didn't expect to lose a lot of shit to the highway, but I have lost 2 wheel guards. I lost my license plate one time because, but you learn what Loctite is, and that shit saved a lot of lives. So as soon as I got my aftermarket rear sets, that's the first thing I did. I took them completely apart and Loctited red everything. I haven't had any issues. What else? A couple modifications I have is I got an MWR race filter kit. I got Voodoo Racing rear sets. I got what else? I got a 520 chain conversion with polymer mounts. I got a quick change sprocket, levers, aftermarket reservoir for my rear brakes, carbon rear brakes, stock rotor, which I'm gonna get a new rotor soon. Excuse me. But next on the list is the clutch. And you know, this bike almost has fucking 45,000 miles on it with an original clutch. You know how it's an original? Because I'm the second owner. I bought it with 27,000 miles right before the Desmo Quadro service was due. I bought it, rode it till the Desmo light came on. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking push it. So I pushed it. So tired of everybody, you know, going out and riding with people. They're like, oh man, your Ferrari hasn't broke down yet. I'm like, come on, man. This bike has been good to me. You know that. I ride every fucking weekend with you. The fuck? So, you know, just get that a lot at a gas station or even at work. People are like, oh, Ducati, how reliable is that thing? I'm just like, well, it's very reliable. You know, I'm not the one that buys a super bike and keeps it in the garage just to let it sit there and collect dust. There's an engineer with an S1000RR, and his bike just sits there. He rides it maybe twice, 3 times a year maybe. And he's talking about like it's worth more when you sell it. And I'm like, yeah, well, I love my bike. Who said I wanted to sell it? I'm gonna enjoy this bitch until it bursts into flames in the 115 degrees summer heat in here in Las Vegas. And then I'm gonna get a V4 and beat the piss out of that. If not, an Aprilia. I really like the way the Aprilia RSV 1000 sounds. I would definitely not cry if I got a V4. A Panigale V4. Would not cry. But they're just they're just so expensive. Like, this bike's paid off. I have insurance on it, so if anything happens to it, I'm gonna get either a replacement or an upgrade. But I just don't know about paying, you know, like $15,000 more for an upgraded version of the bike that I have now that I love and has all the power, all the handling, all the bark that I can handle, you know? So, I'm still up in the air. Plus, this bike is so gorgeous, just looking at it. Just looking at it. This dude just cut me off. What a piece of shit. Fucking bitch. Only had to punch a couple mirrors off. I got hit in the arm with somebody's rear view mirror. They were following too close behind me, and I took the off ramp, and they were following me, and then they just decided to fucking floor it and hit me in the back of the elbow with their fucking mirror. It hurt so bad. But for the most part, people look out. Granted, you know, the couple times that I've had to destroy some mirrors, they were like, they literally were on my leg, pushing me over into the other lane. Or the other one was a guy cut me off, slammed on his brakes, and stuck his head out the window and said, "Fuck bikers," and then decided to slam on his brakes. So I split lanes, smashed his fucking mirror, and then he caught up. I slowed down, went on the other side, and fucking lane split again and broke his other mirror. So he deserved it. It was legitimately could have killed me. We was on the fucking highway going 75 miles an hour. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you methed out retard? But all the other times, people are really nice about it. They're, you know, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Or they, you know, when you look, you get up to their mirror, you can see that they're apologetic, and they wave that like they were in the wrong. Something around that. You know what I mean? So it's not so bad. A lot of people do watch out, but also a lot of guys around here ride like dickheads. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I ride like a dickhead. Also, I've been riding for fucking over a decade, and I've owned a super bike. You know, 2 years strong, every day riding it. You know, pushing it little by little, more and more, as the days and the years go on. So I know what I'm doing. I don't lane split all of the time. I don't drive like a dick all of the time. You know, I don't, like when there's traffic on the 15, I don't fucking split cars going 90 miles an hour. You know, I just coast by. I think there's a cop following me. I don't stop for cops. And there's a no chase law out here in Vegas. But I didn't say that. But, you know, if you're looking into getting a Panigale, get it after the Desmo Quattro service, not right before. You know, there's a lot of fucking assholes out there that buy Ferraris, and then when a Ferrari needs fixing, they just sell it and don't tell them about the needing to be fixed part. Which I understand. If you buy a Ferrari, you're gonna expect to pay Ferrari prices for everything. You know? I went to school for mechanics, you know, 6 years altogether, collectively. So I know how to do some shit. So, you know, granted, I do most of my own servicing. I change my own oil, I take my own tires off, take them to go get them changed. I change my chain, you know, I put all of my racing parts on. You know, I could even tune it with the up map. So, I mean, the only thing I really didn't want to do is fuck with the internals of the engine, because I don't really, you know, I've never fucked with the internals of a Ducati before, so it would have been my first time. What I'm about to do is around winter time next year, when work gets busy again, I start working 7 days a week, I'm gonna buy a spare 1199R or 1199S engine, and I'm gonna swap it into this one and then just fuck around with the spare engine until I rebuild it myself. You know, and if I fuck it up, I fuck it up, whatever. I have another engine just laying around. So I know a lot of people are like, man, it must be nice to have that kind of money. Yeah, well, I also have been, you know, not buying stupid shit all the time. You know, I work hard every fucking day. I wasn't given anything. I worked for all of this. You know, 8 years of welding got me a good ass job, and they fucking pay good to welders. So, sorry I got lucky. But yeah, Ducati's reliable as fuck. A couple downsides, a couple high sides. You know, living in the desert probably doesn't help at all with the heat problem of Ducatis have, which isn't really a problem, it's more of an annoyance. It's just like having a fast car that doesn't have AC. You either get one or the other, unless you have a Lamborghini. So, hope you liked the video. I really am looking to get an SC Projects exhaust. I believe it's the S1. It's not the one with the really short round canister. It's the GP look-alike exhaust. So hopefully I'll have that on before August. It's almost July, so you know, hopefully I'll have one before August. I've been working really hard. I've been saving up, not buying video games and doing dumb shit. And haven't been partying, haven't been going to Los Angeles too much to do comedy, so maybe I'll catch a lucky break and get one of those guys before August. If not, I should have enough saved up. My wife started her own business, and it's finally taken off after making us almost broke. So that's awesome. But you know, if you got any questions, any comments, if you like to know the list of mods I have on my bike, if you want me to explain how to do something to your Ducati, or if you'd like, you know, I did a charcoal canister delete, I swapped out a bunch of stuff, you know, just ask me. I'm my own podcast too, the House of Wolves podcast, check it out. But thanks for looking at this motoblog. If you like more videos like this of just me cruising around and fucking around in the canyons or on my way to Los Angeles, subscribe, like, comment, whatever you feel like doing, mate. Thanks.